Maybe folks can see me. I ran out of data on my phone, and I am using my neighbor's Wi-Fi. We had a neighbor down here, they got Wi-Fi, and I don't know how good it is. It may get sketchy. I'm about 50 feet from them. We'll see. Depends upon your device and depends upon everything. Let's see. Everybody see me okay? Look all right? Won't move too fast. Is anybody in the house yet? Got about 9 minutes before anybody comes in. Let a few folks come in. Oh, I'm thirsty. I didn't mean to go live early. I'm in what we affectionately call the tent. It is our portable garage that we set up out here. Here's a video on it. Not about setting it up, but just taking what we use it for and how much money it's saving us because we had a storage. Anybody's, I know a few folks are still coming in. My phone just would not take and pull up YouTube tonight. My mobile hotspot just wouldn't work. And I know it's because we are past our high speed data, and it gets limited really a whole lot. I don't know who else is here. I think there's one person here. I'm here by myself. I know it's because I'm early. I don't know who else is here. Somebody keeps coming in and going out. I'm not sure. Hopefully y'all can see me okay. I don't know. Can y'all hear me okay? Is there anybody out there? No. So far, there's nobody out there but me. I'm in cyberspace on the old interweb, floating around. Oh, my. Now there's nobody here. There was somebody here, and now there's nobody here. If you're here, raise your hand, say amen. I don't know if anybody here or not. So I had to hook up to the neighbors. They got HughesNet, so I don't know how well this is going to work, and it may cut in and out. I don't know. But my high-speed data was not. So I don't have any high-speed data. Like I said. Anybody else here? I see two people. I see one person. I want to wait till we get some folks in here to talk about what we're going to talk about, what we're going to do tonight. Sitting here in the tent. It's a lot cooler out here. It got warm today. I'd say it's probably up over 60 degrees. Right now, it is 57 degrees in here right now. Got my little thermometer there, and I can put down there's a little bit of breeze coming in here, so if it gets too cold, I'll zip that down. I got the door open right now, just trying to help get a little bit better signal on the internet. But I'd like to have some feedback. If there is somebody here, can you hear me and can you see me? If I can do sign language. Maybe I need to plug something in. 2 people here. Got 1 thumbs up. Can you see me and hear me? Can you hear and see me? And you are. Good day, mate. All right, Josh. Can you see me and hear me? My internet's a little sketchy, so I want to make sure y'all can see me and hear me. Can you see me and hear me? Is there anybody out there can see and hear? Good. Awesome. Awesome. So I got on a little bit early because my internet was a little bit sketchy, Josh, and like I said before, I'm out of high-speed data on my hotspot. Been using it a lot to upload videos. So we burnt through a bunch of it. So we're going to talk about a few things about being prepared as to what kind of homesteader you're going to be. What kind of homesteader are you? And I'm hoping people jump in there. And it's not really to classify people. It's more as a preparation type thing, mentally as well as physically. I always say, as people, we have a mental aspect that we're 4-dimensional, mentally, physically, spiritual, and emotionally. And you have to prepare yourself for anything on all those different levels. And that's what we're talking about tonight. Not trying to throw sticks at anybody, not trying to throw rocks at anybody about what they're doing or how they're doing it. Just want to talk about what kind of homestead are you, and what kind of preparation goes into that. So I'm out here in my tent tonight, my little portable garage. It works really good. When it's warm, I do a lot of leather work out here. That's where I do a lot of my leather work. I come out here and it's pretty good. And like I said before, I checked the temperature. It's like 57 degrees in here right now. I got the door open. I can shut this door down and it'll be warmer in here. Nicole's here. Good deal. We're going to let a few more folks get here. I jumped on a little bit early because my internet was sketchy and I wanted to make sure that I could get on there. And if not, I want to make sure I had enough time to tell you guys that something was going on with my internet, but it went right together and got on there. So if it cuts out, it's because it's kind of sketchy tonight. A lot of people, in talking about what kind of homesteader are you? A lot of people would look at, well, you're trying to classify people. So I'm not really trying to classify people because, me and Polly have been homestead minded, I guess, and I really don't know how the term was coined, homesteader, or what even qualifies as a homesteader. I mean, there's been a lot of controversy about it. People, say, well, it's building your own home. But I think there's a lot more different aspects to that, and there's been a lot of controversy about it. Hey, sis. Yeah, for some reason I was having trouble with my phone, even when I don't have high speed data on my cell phone. It usually works great. So I don't know what's going on with it. But a neighbor of mine was happy enough. I told her I got a live stream. Would you mind if I use your internet? She said no, and I told her I could always buy her some tokens, which is how HughesNet works. You can buy them tokens. I told her I'd buy her some tokens if she needs them. We got 4 people in. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button. It really helps us. Lets us know we're doing a good job. So I had an exciting day today. I was working a colt over in the pens, and Anna's little horse, Cowboy, he's always been kind of a live wire, okay? We've had issues with him ever since he was little. And his mama was twice as bad, and his sister we sold to the rodeo, so that'll give you some ideas. But he's been a real good little horse for Anna. Anna learned how to ride on him. She learned how to train on him. She learned how to do a lot of things on him. But he gets a loose wire every once in a while and decides that the world's after him, got him by the tail. And he, particularly if he thinks you're after him. You know, you can walk out there and catch him if you act like you're not after him, and he's fine. But if he ever gets to running around, he's off his mind. And I was working this other horse, and I'd work this horse down to one end, he'd go to the other end, and then I'd work back down to the other end. I was driving this horse. Had a pack saddle on him, and I was driving. Well, Cowboy, for some reason, he gets this wild hare and takes off running, and runs down to the other end of the pen, and he comes out of what we call the hole, where there's a pen at the end, and it's got a little alley. He comes out there and comes zipping around, and he ran into a post and cut his head wide open. I mean, across his nose, up over his eye, and I mean, he laid it open good. And for whatever reason, I don't know if he's going blind or he's getting pretty old. We've had him a long time. I don't know. I don't know why he decided he's going to take and run into a post, but he did. And he didn't dodge quick enough or something. I don't know. And yeah, he split it wide open, and it just so happens Polly and Anna was on their way home, so they swung by, jumped in the car, we ran, got some sutures. We keep pretty much everything on hand we need, but it didn't have any sutures, so we ran down to the trading post. This trading post down here, I need to do a video just on this trading post because they got everything a man will need. The handles for my wheelbarrow I got down here at this trading post. I mean, you can find anything you need for farming or ranching or anything. They got it. But I got a suture, and I put 3 big old stitches up over his eye, and the rest of it I left open because it kind of come down, went to drain, and we doctored it up. Gave him some antibiotics, gave him a tetanus shot. So hopefully he'll be all right. He conked that head pretty good. So I don't know. You know, hopefully he didn't fracture anything. I mean, their head's pretty hard, but I mean, he was running when he hit that post. So it's a pipe post, metal post. He just happened to hit it. So yeah, he's gonna be sore, Nicole, that's for sure. But we sutured him up, got the bleeding stopped, and since it's on his head, I think it'll heal up pretty quick. They generally do on their head. Anyway. So we got 5 people in with us tonight. I know there's a bunch of people that said they're going to be in. We are going to do a giveaway tonight. This is going to be a giveaway night. Told y'all we was going to be doing a giveaway. I don't know if y'all can see it or not. This is a set of buck knives. Has a 2-blade pocket knife and then a lock blade. And this is a good skinner. Good little camp knife. There, maybe you can see a little better now. Move it up here real close. Can y'all see that? There we go. So there's a lock back and then a regular old pocket knife. It's made by Buck. Buck knives got a good reputation. We're going to give that away tonight. It's going to be a trivia question. So we'll see if you've been watching videos or not. It's getting a little chilly. I'm going to have to zip this door down. Excuse me just a second. It's going to take a second. All right. Trying to stop that breeze a little bit. There we go. There we go. So we're going to be giving this knife away. It's going to be a trivia question. We'll do it. We'll do it here pretty quick. So trying to read some of the comments here. Everybody talking to everybody. All right. Good deal. Okay. So hope everybody's day went as good as mine. Folks said they really want Polly to do a video on tortillas and fry bread, and I'm trying my hardest to get her to shoot one. So, yeah, this temperature gets dropping down here pretty quick. I got that door shut. It'll stay warm here. That light will warm it up in here enough. It's actually a heat lamp. I don't know what's going on out here. We got people pulled up out here. Hear people talking. But anyway, we're going to give away the knife. We're going to talk about tonight what kind of homesteader are you? And I was talking earlier, and me and Josh are the only ones on here. We're going to talk about as not as a classification thing, not to classify anybody or put anybody in a peg hole or anything like that, but to talk about the preparation aspect of it. So depending on what kind of homesteader you're going to be, and I was kind of rambling before talking about homestead. I don't know where the term homesteader, I mean, if you look at it historically, a homesteader was someone, they had the Homesteaders Act. They had it in Alaska until like 1972, I'm going to say. It might be 1972 or 1976. I would have to go back and look, but sometime in the 70s there, they had what was called the Homesteader Act. And then in Central America, Central United States, they had the Homesteaders Act, where you could go and claim a piece of land, you could stake it out, and it was yours. And you, as long as you improved on it, the government would give you a title deed to it. So that's historically kind of what a homesteader was. You had to build a house, you had to grow crops, you had to improve on the land. That was the stipulation. Alaska the same way. You had to become make the land, and you had to be a productive citizen, so to speak. So, Coach, I hope to be a good one. Right now, we're prepping things to be able to stay full time and not have debt. That's probably one of the biggest keys to any one of these categories that I kind of come up with. I came up with and there's probably more, but this is kind of the 4 or 5 categories that I took and I came up with. The pioneer homesteader. The pioneer homesteader is the person, and I don't know how many of you watch other, how many of you watch Doug and Stacy? Can I get some feedback? Doug and Stacy. I don't know if anybody watches them or not. They kind of do. They're kind of a pioneer homesteader. They cook with wood. They heat with wood. The pioneer homesteader, they do everything off grid, totally. Doug and Stacy, they use technology. They use, Mike already says yes. They kind of do things, kind of off grid. Now, back in Tennessee, we had Mennonites, and then up in Indiana, we had Amish. And the Amish, we had some Amish move up into the McMinnville area, and they bought like 1,200 acres and started setting up. But they use a little bit of technology. They do use bulldozers, some of them. They hire people to do bulldozers. I'm not sure how that works. I'm not Amish. But for the most part, they live off grid. They live, a subsistence lifestyle, but they grow all their own food. They make their own clothes. I mean, we're talking about nitty gritty, down to earth, get back to your roots, homesteading. And I mean, I know a lot of cowboys that lived that way. They lived off grid. They took and they cooked with wood. They heated with wood, and they lived just right off the land. But to get into that homesteader, I'm not sure, and I don't want to try to categorize everybody and say, well, if you don't do this, you're not a homesteader. If you don't do this, you're not a homesteader. That's not what I'm about. But I just, if you're going to be a pioneer homesteader, it's going to be a lot harder, and you want to be in a different climate than where we're at, because you are really going to have to depend on the rain if you're going to grow everything you eat. And it's almost 100% impossible anymore to grow everything that you need, unless you're going to walk around in animal skins, and you're going to grow, wheat, and you're going to grow corn, and you're going to do it all, which you can, but you're going to have to grow sorghum for sugar. You're going to have to, you're going to have a milk cow. You're going to have chickens. You're going to have to do it all. And that you don't do overnight. You could, but it would be really, really hard to move onto a piece of property and start from scratch, and be able to do it. For one, you would still have to have some type of income just to pay your land tax. And there's a lot of things out there that you can't take and make. I mean, nails. If you're a blacksmith, I mean, so if you're talking about being a pioneer homesteader, you've got to have a whole lot of skill, um, lots of work. I've watched a couple of videos. Yeah, in your so it's one of those things where it is just lots and lots of work, daylight till dark, make you old. There's a reason the pioneers died before they were 40. Okay, I'm 44 years old, and I worked for 20 years. Me and my wife both worked for 20 years, daylight till dark, 6 days a week. Hardly ever took vacations, and I'm gonna tell you, it makes an old man out of you. It will kill you if and let anybody tell you. I'm just gonna tell you right now. If anybody tells you my grandpa said hard work never hurt anybody, it was a lie, and he didn't mean it. He didn't mean it to be a lie. It just is a lie. Hard work will kill you. It will work you down until you are not physically able to do anything. You're not mentally able to do anything. So the pioneer, I can definitely say for myself. I can't say it for nobody else. I'm not a pioneer homestead. I'm just going to take and tell you that. Um, a pioneer homesteader is going to hunt. They're going to fish. They're going to butcher. They're going to smoke their own meat. They're going to grow everything. They're going to be a mechanic, a blacksmith. Probably use horses to do their farming with. Use horses to do that sort of thing with. So they're just an all-around. Uses no technology. Doesn't have a TV. Hardly uses the phone. That's a pioneer homesteader. Okay. That's kind of how I take and do it. How I kind of take and qualify that. If you want to call yourself a pioneer homesteader, okay, I'm not going to argue. Then there's the off-gridder. There's a lot of off-gridders. And there's off-gridders that are not necessarily homesteaders. There's off-gridders that they live off-grid, but they're not really homesteaders. Excuse me. Oh, Jesus. Oh. Never can sneeze just once. They're not really homesteaders. Or maybe they don't even call themselves homesteaders, but they're off-gridders. They use solar. They're not hooked to any municipalities. Thank you, Nicole. So you can be an off-gridder and not be a homesteader. So there's off-grid homesteaders who use solar, who they do everything kind of what the pioneer homesteader does, but they use technology. They use advancements. They're more comfortable. I mean, and going back to it, I mean, uh, there you don't have to live rough to live off grid. Not in today's age. Now you do have to have money, and you have to start with a certain amount of technology in order to live off grid comfortably. But it can be done. You don't have to live like we lived when I was a kid, um, just to put it mildly, to be off grid. You don't have to have an outhouse. You don't have to take and live just a degraded, you know, Appalachian type setting. You've ever been to Appalachia? It's pretty rough. You don't have to live in degradation in order to be an off gridder. You can live off grid and live comfortably. There's a lot of people that Derek and Handyman, Derek the Handyman, they live off grid. They've got water catchments. They've got solar. Now he's got money, and he's able to put in systems in advance. So talking about the preparation, if you're going to be a pioneer homesteader, you're going to have a lot of tools and a lot of skill. To be a and a lot of money wouldn't hurt. But to be a off-gridder, you're going to have some type of initial nest egg to go out there and to live off-grid. You can build up to it, but your level of comfort's going to be a lot less than where you can end up. But you still got to have some type of income. You can work a full-time job and be an off-grid homesteader. It just takes longer to get to where you're at. When we talk about goals, and I think it's a good time to talk about goals, as a homesteader, I want to grow, catch, or kill the majority of my food. Now, we all know that in today's society, you're going to have, particularly if you have a family, you're going to have money for other things. You're going to have enough money to pay your taxes, to pay for vehicle repairs, to pay for tires, to pay for all that stuff. Now, it goes without saying that if you don't go a whole lot, then you don't use that stuff as a lot, and your budget's going to be a lot smaller. But that's my goal. My goal is to spend as little as possible and grow as much as I can, catch as much as I can, hunt as much as I can, raise as much as I can, and live off of that. Which brings us to the hunter scavenger. Okay, the hunter scavenger. That's kind of this is kind of my category. Kind of what I would categorize myself, because we do a lot more than just grow our own food or raise our own meat. Like I've said before, we've done roadkill, which is a really good thing. But we also last year, and I may have spoke about this, and if I had, our family has a bad reputation of repeating ourselves a whole lot. So if I've said a story, just come straight out and say, we've heard it before. Shut up. But this last year, there was an ad on Facebook. So they were using technology. And these people were giving away apples. They had lots of apples. So we went over there and we picked apples. We processed apples. We took and we froze apples, and we actually sold apples, and we give away apples. And we went over there quite a bit. We had boxes and boxes of apples. Fed a lot of. Who's us? Oh, us. Me and Polly and the kids, and we would go pick the apples. And then we also did apricots the same way. Now the apricots, it cost a little bit of money. Surely not. I'm not sure what you guys are talking about. Oh, who's us? Oh, John. Okay, about talk. You know that we like to say the same stories over and over and over and over. Okay, you know we do. So let's just be real here. Come on, guys. But we got a chance to go get apricots, and this lady was $5 taking me apricots as you wanted. So we went over, got a bunch of as many apricots as we could, and then we took and we sold apricots. So there was another revenue stream for us. And we ate apricots, and we could have canned apricots, but we weren't really set up for it. So that puts us in the scavenger. And then you talk about buying bulk or finding deals. And when I was growing up, my daddy, when I was real little, somebody would come over to the house and say, "Hey, I need to butcher a hog." I got to tell this story. I've never told this story. Okay. Dad butchered a hog, and Dad would keep all of what we call the lights, the fat, the liver, the kidneys, the brains, any scraps of meat that the other people didn't want. Okay. And he would butcher the animal. He'd butcher a beef. He'd butcher a hog. And I don't remember. We probably had 25 or 30 kids, teenagers at our house, and I was little bitty. I mean, I was really small. And Dad took and had this stuff piled up on. He'd come in from cooking, or from butchering a beef, and people would pay him, and then they would give him cuts of meat and stuff like that. That's hunter gatherer scavenger, because he was feeding 30 kids. Um, so one of the things that he did is he had all this kidneys and all this stuff on the table on this big. He had these big cookie sheets, and what he would do is he would go to. This is another kind of how I was raised. He would go down to the bakery and he would buy day old bread that was a whole flat of bread. So he would buy 10 pounds of bologna. He would buy, in the rolls, 10 pounds of cheese, that sort of thing to feed all these kids. So he had this big old cookie sheet of just innards, lights. And he took, how many stuff? Well, good to have you here. Everybody give old Tess Forster a good welcome. Appreciate you being here. So he took and everybody was going out to a revival or going somewhere, and they said, "Ew, what are you going to do with all them guts? I'm not eating." He goes, "You're going to eat it." And my uncle Daryl, he took and I ain't eating that. And so Dad took and he boiled some eggs and he ground up all those kidneys and the liver and everything. He ground it all up and he cooked it. And after he got done cooking it, he mixed mayonnaise with it and celery and carrot. And he made this big old thing, what he called ham salad. And he stuck big old things of it in the refrigerator. And he put boiled eggs all in it. And he made him one little old bowl in the back. And then he went to bed. He butchered all that. And he took and the next morning, everybody come in that night and they eat 10 loaves of light bread and all that ham salad. Well, Dad took and told my Uncle Daryl. He said, "Hey, Guts." He called him Guts after that. He said, "What?" He said, "You eat all them guts last night." Because I ain't no guts. I ate ham salad. He said, "No, you eat guts." Daryl run outside and tried to choke himself and puke. But that's kind of what a hunter-gatherer scavenger does. You take what other people kind of view as unwanted or as a byproduct, and you make the best of it. And that's kind of how we were raised. I mean, we junked cars, and that's part of it. Even after we moved out here, we've hauled junk. In Tennessee, we hauled junk all the time. It was just part of our daily life. Even when we were making good money, if I ran up on a deal where I could buy some cars and junk them out, I'd do it. When junk was really high, I was buying, running, driving cars, running them across the scale and selling them. But it's taking unwanted items and making them profitable to use. And that's kind of what we did. I mean, you can do all types. I call them resources. Whether it be fencing that somebody needs taken down, or a barn that needs to be tore down, or a scrap pile somebody needs to be removed. Any of those things work great for a hunter scavenger. And it's a little bit different than just, okay, I'm going to go do this homesteading thing. It's survival and making the best out of it. I had this uncle, and he's passed now, Uncle Scott Jackson, and he knew more ways to make money than anybody I know. And then taking those resources and then pouring them back into your homestead when you make the money, um, that's what it's all about. I mean, we tore down probably 500 yards of fence along a highway. The highway was taking it out. I drove down there, and people said they're not going to let you do that. I said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go down there." I said, "It ain't going to hurt." And that's my thing. It ain't never going to hurt to ask. All they can say is no. Drove down there. They said, "Yeah, if you want to take this barbed wire, go ahead and stay." I sold that stuff at the flea market, and I bought hay with it. It took some labor, me and George. It took some stuff, but it got us some money, and we were able to buy hay. And out here, you be a tradesman, always will have work. There you go. Yeah, and depending on where you're at, there might not be all that much work. Whether I can be a carpenter, I've been a contractor. I've been a carpenter. I can build. I can build fence. I can do plumbing. I can do electrical. All those things are nice, but they don't. There's not always work available depending on where you live. Particularly in our areas, there's not a whole lot. You either have to drive 40 miles one way or 40 miles the other way to be where there's any people. So jobs can be few and far between. So you take opportunities where you can. And setting up, if you're going to be that kind of homesteader, you've got to set up your homestead to where it can kind of take care of itself. So you don't really have, a lot of high maintenance animals. You need to be able to feed them in the morning, feed them in the evening, maybe not be there all the time. Be there some of the time. There's some days where they might have to go a day or two. If you have to go help somebody build a fence, you know, half a day away, then they need to be able to take care of themselves. You put water, you put out feed to them, and they kind of take care of themselves. One of the good things is I have a really good friend and a neighbor who lives next to me that if I ever need him, he would take care of my animals. If you're young, save for the future so that you can pay for your homestead and Social Security's still around. I'm not betting on the government to have some security around. I've got about 20 years before that comes around. I don't know, boy. I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know what's going to happen in this country. I know this, that we're probably safe for about 4 more years, and then after that, it's anybody's guess. We really don't know. So I never bet on the government anyway. I kind of take care of myself. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So being a hunter scavenger, you've got to set your homestead up a little bit different. You don't want to just go full tilt into chickens, pigs, goats. You know, and I'll just tell you, for folks out there that may come across this channel that are trying, thinking about doing homestead, all of that stuff takes time. It takes time out of your day. I don't care how early you start. I have had horses and cows and chickens and pigs. I've had it all. I managed a ranch. We had all of that. And it takes up a good majority of your day, particularly if a horse tears down a fence or anything like that. All of that takes time. If you're going to raise the garden, you've got to tend it. You've got to weed it. You've got to fertilize it. You've got to hoe it. All that stuff takes time. So how much you do is going to be dependent upon how much time you have. If you're going to work a full-time job or a part-time job, don't expect to grow everything. Don't expect to do a whole lot of stuff at one time. Go slow, and take and try and have a system in place. Plan to where you have a system in place where self-waters are really good. I love self-waters, and you can do it off grid with water catchment and tanks. Self irrigation. One of the things that I really want to take and do down on our homestead, even before we get moved down there, is set up some IBC coats and put in a small orchard. We're going to put up some high tensile wire, put in a small orchard, and every time we go down there, just fill up IBC totes. Um, depending on how you're going to be. If you're going to be there a lot, if you've got a lot of extra income, maybe you've got an internet income, you're doing, and we're dabbling in that. If you're going to be a hunter scavenger, you've got to have lots of streams of income. You can't just take and have one mindset. And I think that's what's wrong in America today. People go, I'm going to do this one thing. If you look at what I do, and I can only speak for what I do. I work in a warehouse. I manage an RV park. I train horses. I do horse trimming. I sell knives on the internet. We do flea marketing. What else? I do maintenance on people's campers that live here. So you got all those things that you do, and that's what takes. But you're not doing them all at the same time. They're all at different times of the day. And I'm thankful for my kids. My kids, they feed the horses, they muck out the fens, they do all that stuff, and it's really good. I don't know how much longer I'm going to have them, because one of them's 20 and the other one's 18, and they're all talking about going in different directions. But you do those things at intermittent times, and it helps fill the gaps. And being able to have systems in place, even if you're an off-gridder type homesteader, just having those systems in place where if you need to be gone for 2 or 3 days, nothing's going to suffer. You're still taking care of your animal, because there's a lot of people out. I mean, I've run across some homesteads out here. There ain't nobody around. Somebody's going to have to drive 25 or 30 miles just to come check on your horses or your cow or your goat or your chicken. So proper preparation on what kind of homestead you want to have, and not to put it in any kind of category, but what kind of homestead you want to have. Are you going to work a part-time job? Are you going to work a full-time job? Are you going to be traveling? That's one of the reasons we want to be off the grid. One of the reasons we want to take and we want a homestead and have an off-grid homestead, have it paid for, is if I want to take off and I want to go to Missouri, or I want to go to, Wyoming, or I want to go wherever, and be gone, I want to be able to do that and not have to worry about the electric bill and the water bill and the mortgage and da 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 da. I don't want to have to take and worry about those things. So that's the hunter scavenger. Anybody have any input? There's more people on here. We're going to be giving this away. I think 2 people jumped in and jumped off. Kind of keep. We're going to be giving this away. It's a buck. Say it again. It is a buck 2-piece set, 2 blades, and a lock back, which make a real good skinning. I've skinned deer with these. You can do everything but cut the ribs off. I've deboned deer with one like this. Pulled up at a guy's house, and he'd never killed a deer and never butchered a deer. I don't know what I was doing there. I think I was looking at a horse or something, and they were in the shop, and they didn't have no idea what they were doing. So I jumped in there, pulled out my lockback pocket knife, and I think it was one of them little old cheap $5, $6 lockback, but it was sharp. And they happened to have a sharpening stone there. I sharpened it up, skinned out that deer. He happened to have a chopping axe. We chopped up the rest of it, processed it for him, and that's why I always carry a knife. You never know what kind of situation you're going to get into. But we're going to give away that knife here in a little while. Getting colder out here. Everybody still hear me all right? Nobody's chiming in. Who we got? We got Sun Sugar Creek, Homestead, Tennessee. Totally agree. You don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. Water's life, a must have. You bet. Grow vegetables and raise chickens. Yeah. You gotta have water, water catchment out here. And I don't know why more people. Me and John was talking earlier today, and he was painting a barn for some folks who had like 5,000 gallons of water, and they said it would last them like 3 months. Water catchment. I was talking to my good buddy Jeff Blankenship in Tennessee, and he actually put together one. This lady had horses, and she wanted to wash her horses, but she didn't want to use city water, so they just put a water catchment on their barn, and they had a big old barn, and he had water catchment. I don't know why more people don't do it, even where there's a lot of water, because you could supplement, particularly if you're irrigating a garden or you're watering a lot of animals. Every barn we used to build, we used to put gutters on, particularly had cows, and we would put a tank at the end of the barn. I mean, we'd put a 500-gallon tank out there. As much as it rained back in Tennessee, it was always full, and it was always moving, because it was always filling up and moving. So I don't know why more people don't do it. I think people are lax. They don't think about the eventualities of what if we don't have any water? Because water's everywhere. It's pretty much everywhere around them. Yep, can see. Okay, thank you, Josh. I'm working on 2 bars of Wi-Fi. So that brings us to the urban homesteader. How many of you watch Mama Grows? Anybody watch Mama Grows? If anybody does or not. She's in Utah. She calls herself an urban homesteader. She raises chicken and she eats them. She buys in bulk. Yeah, Mike, you got water catchment is. I mean, particularly in the monsoon. You're Mike. You guys are down there. I want to say you're down past us, right, Mike? I think so. Sugar Creek. Yeah, do you watch Mama Grows? I like her little channel. She's doing the best she can where she's at, and she wants to have a homestead, and she wants to have those things. But she's growing chickens, she's growing food, she's doing all the things she can on very little acreage. I mean, it's just her backyard. So one of the questions I posed today was: is homesteading, is it a place or is it a mindset? South of Zuni, okay. I know where you're at. Then you're not far from us. Is it a place? Is it a qualification? How do you qualify being a homesteader? Or is it just a mindset? I'm going to do as much as I can with what I have. It goes back to what I talked about last night, being a redneck, um, being a hillbilly. I I bought a set of camera gear this last week. It was like $14 at Walmart. And when I got it home, it wasn't what I thought it was. So what did I do? I redneck. So there you go. So the urban homesteader is growing what they can and what they have. And I'm telling you, I know people, I've watched these folks, and I do a lot of research. I don't know about you guys. I don't just watch YouTube to be watching YouTube like people watch TV, mindless stuff. I'm looking for something to expand my intellect. There's a lot of garbage on there, and there's a lot of stuff on there that it's okay, it's cool, and there's sometimes I want to watch something and just kick back and chill and not have to think. Um, that's why I try to put out some informational videos. I try to put out some videos just like our cookout video. That was just a kickback, take it easy kind of video. It maybe you learned something, maybe you didn't, but it was. My daughter did a great job, by the way, on that audio. Um, but it just kick back and relax and enjoy yourself. But I try to do something every day. I try to read something every day. I try to watch something every day that expands my intellect and I learn something. Mike says it's a life change from being a slave to the system to being a free man or woman. Yeah, it is. And I think that's the mindset. Um, very good point, Mike. It's the mindset of I'm not going to do it like everybody else does it. I'm going to step outside the box. I was talking to a young man this week, and he wants to get ahead. He wants to grow. He wants to do more than what he's doing now, but yet he doesn't know how to do it any other way than everybody else. And he said they're not getting ahead either. They're not doing anything either. So I said, you got to think outside the box. You got to look past what everybody else is doing and see somebody doing it different. You got to find people out there that have podcasts, that have, blogs that are doing it different. They're not doing it status quo. And listen to those people and gather information. And I think and I'm going to get on my soapbox here and preach a little bit. I think as a society, we have a hard time collecting and being an individual. I can collect information and knowledge from a lot of different places, and I can be my own individual. But there's so many people out there that are just followers, and they grab onto what somebody's doing, and they try to base their life, their vision, their dream off of that other person. And what we need to do, we need to get back to that pioneering spirit of America, where everybody else was looking for safety and security in the settlements, and say, okay, we're going to go across the whole United States in a wagon, and we're going to build ourselves and our children a future. We need to get back that, but we need to do it on an intellectual basis first. We need to be able to gather knowledge, gather information, and still be our own person. And is what I'm doing any different than what somebody else is doing? Absolutely. Is some of the things I'm doing like what other people are doing? Absolutely. But I'm growing my own vision, and I'm growing my own dreams, but I'm using information and knowledge from a lot of different places. I hope that makes sense. So, and I think that's what the homesteading spirit is. I really believe that is what the homesteading spirit is. Let's step outside the box. Let's do something different than what mainstream society's doing. And to be honest with you, I think that's why the government doesn't like us. I think that's why the government doesn't like what we do, because we're not on the treadmill. We're not out there, in the cubicle mindset where we contribute to society and we get our little bit of nest egg and we die tired. I think that's, they want people on that treadmill for as long as they can be on that treadmill, so they can take advantage of you as long as they can. So, hit the nail on the head. So, thank you guys. Appreciate that. But, getting back to the urban homesteader, yeah, I think you can be a homesteader anywhere you're at. You just have to have that mindset where you're not caught up in everything. Sugar Creek, every homestead is unique, and that's part of what makes each homestead special. Yeah, well, we're all special in some way, form, or fashion. I'm just joking around. Yeah, I always tell people, you do you. And don't let anybody tell you any different. If it lines up, if you're not breaking any laws, if you're not, dying and going to hell, I'll back you 100%. You do you. My son, for instance, he's got his own style. When he was little, he wanted to be a cowboy. He dressed like a cowboy. He wore the hat, the chaps, everything. He wore. Now that he's older, he has his own style, and I'm gonna tell you, I don't know how to explain it, but it's his own style, and I'm cool with that. He's a good kid. He works hard. He keeps himself straight. He works at keeping himself straight. You know, he's considerate. He's kind. He's a good kid, but he's got his own style, and he's his own man. And I'm 100% behind anybody, however they want to do something. I know a lot of people will. If they don't agree with something on YouTube, they'll hit the Pathways Homesteads here. They'll hit the dislike button. I'm not going to go and hit somebody's dislike button. They're putting out content, and they're doing them, and they're doing the best they can. I'm going to hit the thumbs up. I'm going to take and subscribe to their channel. And I don't have time. If I had time to watch everybody's that I'm subscribed to, I'll catch it when I can. But if I had time to do that, I would have to be a millionaire, because that's all I would get done. I think I'm subscribed to like 300 and some channels. So, when I scroll down through there, it's unreal what I'm subscribed to. But I'm trying to support these people because they're doing me. There's some people, I watch every video they put out. I like keeping up with them, and they're doing really good. And sometimes when I got nothing to do, I'll do a marathon on somebody's channel. I'll just jump on there and watch every video they have. So I try to watch as much as I can, but I'm going to support them as much as I can because they're doing what they can do. We got 12 people on here. Somebody jumped off. I don't know who it was. We're gonna do the giveaway. Just want to give you guys another heads up on the giveaway. We're gonna give away the knife. We're gonna do that. That brings us probably to the hobby farmer. The hobby farmer, they like the rural lifestyle. They like the the lifestyle for their kids, how to bring up their kids in a more cleaner environment, less toxic environment. Um, some of the things that I know on all these people, the urban homesteader, the hobby farmer, they like the advantages, and I would say, and I've done some research on this, probably 40% of the United States right now um, has something to do with agriculture. The numbers, it depends on where you go. It was like from 25 to 40%, and I don't know what their qualifications. They were either growing food, had food, classified themselves as a farmer, grew grain. Sometimes they're about 40%. So a little less than half of the nation has something to do with agriculture. Their kids in FFA, they have chickens as a as a barnyard animal. They grow some of their own food. I don't know how they collect all this data or what the qualifications are. In 1940, 90% of the United States had something to do with agriculture. 90%. Think about that for me. They either grew their own food, they had a milk cow, and this is a very big statistic. In 1940, almost 100% of the people had some type of farmyard animal. Think about that for a minute. Almost 100%. They either had a chicken, a cow, or a goat, or a horse. 1940, there was still a lot of people plowing their fields with horses. Some people still had wagons and were pulling wagons. So that is a huge departure in the time that we have lived 80 some odd years, around 80 years. We've departed from an agricultural mindset or a independent mindset. And I think every one of these, the pioneer, the off-gridder, the hunter scavenger, however you want to classify yourself, they all have a need or a want to take care of themselves on some level. I want to take care of myself either mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, to detach from the toxicity that is out there and stand on their own 2 feet and get back to what makes you you, what makes us us. When they started taking and bringing everything to our doorstep, shipping everything to us, we become so dependent upon systems that are bound to break down at some point. Some of them may never recover. That people are trapped inside of that, and now these generations later, people don't know how to get back there. And I think there's a lot of people out there that are bringing their kids back to that kind of lifestyle, at least teaching them those traits, teaching them those skills, to learn how to survive if and when these kind of systems go down. Go back to Katrina, and I always like to use Katrina because you have people that were surrounded by water who were getting dehydrated. They didn't know how to purify water. They didn't know how to clean water. They didn't know how to live. Um, it's just like us down there on the homestead last week. I can pull up pretty much anywhere, and if I don't have food, I'll find something to eat. If I've got to run it down and kill it, I'm gonna find something to eat. You can survive, and there's most of the country, over 50% of the country can't do that. The system can be savage, yes sir. Sugar Creek says, Pathways Homestead, how are you liking your cattle panel greenhouse? Like it a lot. I put a heater and a table in there today. I like them cattle panels. They're good for a lot of different things, trellises, stuff like that. So I've been on here an hour. I'm going to give this away now. We've dropped down. We don't have as many people on here. I'm going to give this away. The trivia question is, if you watched any of our videos, trivia question is, where did our horses spend the night, our first night on the road when we were moving back to Arizona? I hope somebody knows. Where did our horses spend the night the first night we were on the road moving back to Arizona? That's a trivia question. It's one of our old videos. I don't know if anybody knows it. Do, 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 do. I should have had that music pulled up on my phone. Does anybody know? Can anybody guess? Giving away, we got another person in. We're giving away the knives. It's a trivia question. Where did our horses spend the night, the first night on the road? On their feet? In the trailer? No, it was not in the trailer. No, not on there. I'm looking for a specific answer here that not everybody does. What is? Not in the trailer. No, they spent the night in the trailer in Arkansas when we were broke down. But no, the very first night we were on the road, where did they spend the night? In the yard. Don't know. Maybe I should have picked one that was. I'm gonna take and give folks a few more little seconds here. Then I'm gonna ask another. John says more information needed. Which time you moved back there? The last time we moved back to Arizona. We left, and I'll just kind of get. Maybe you guys will get it. We left East Tennessee, and we stopped at my mom and dad's house. That's as much as I'm going to give you. And we spent our first night at my mom and dad's house. Where did the horses spend the night? And how did they spend the night, the first night on the road? I may have to ask another question. People are going back looking. We got 13 people in and only 8 thumbs up. Either 8 agree and 5 don't. That what we're doing here is a good thing, or not. Ozark Mountain Goats is in the house. We're doing a giveaway. We're giving away this knife right now. It's a trivia question there, Ozark. Where did our horses spend the night, the first night on the road when we moved back here to Arizona? Anna's here. I'm outside. They're in the camper. I'm out here in the tent, and I'm getting a little cold. Nobody don't know. Anna, I'm going to have to take, and I'm going to have to, what other question should I ask? Because they don't know where our horses spent the night. What's another question? A more current question. Do you have a question? You ask a question, Anna. I heard that. Oh my God. How about this? Name. You guys ready? Give me a thumbs up if you guys are ready. Somebody give me a thumbs up. Name one of our horses' names. Name one of our horses' names. name one of our horses' names to be the winner of this buck knife set. I even talked about one of the horses earlier in this live stream. I hope I'm still on here. Too easy. Well, it is for you. Are you coming in here?
Yeah.
All right, come on in here. I asked them one of our horses' names because they couldn't come up. They didn't watch that video. Nobody watched our video.
None of the old ones.
None of the old ones. Nobody's watched none of our videos. Blaze, thank you. Thank you, Sugar Creek. Awesome.
Round of applause. Round of applause.
Round of applause, everybody. Okay, Sugar Creek. We will send this buck knife out to you. Oh, Sugar Creek beat you guys. Sugar Creek beat you guys. Sugar Creek, they can email me. Put my email in. I have done it many times, but I will put it in again. Oh, I'm not typing.
The other question.
Okay. Is that right? I can't see. WoodTNN.
Yeah,
okay. So it's woodtnn@gmail.com. So email. Yeah. Sugar Creek. Email me your address and we will get this shipped out to you. And hopefully you enjoy this buck knife set. 2 blades buck, pocket knife, and a lock back. I didn't want to take it out of the package or I would have made you a sheet for it. But I want to keep it in the package. Dang, must have missed that one. The light's not working on the car. Mom, if you want to know what's happening, go out there and do it for us. Our headlight doesn't work sometimes. She's out there fixing it. If you want to know what that's something she finally got it to work. A lot of excitement going on here. People beating on cars, trying to make it break up. Okay, so back to the original question. The original question is, the horses spent the night tied to a high line in my mom and dad's front yard and made a spectacular mess of my mom and dad's front yard. You can go back and look at that if you want to. But they spent the night tied to a high line between 2 trees. And those of you who don't know what a high line is, you take a rope and you tie it to one tree, run it to another tree, and then you tie loops in it, and then you tie the horses off. And they ate, drank water, dumped water, tromped hay in the ground, well, it was wet. Tennessee's always wet. Nothing against you guys who live in Tennessee. I love you guys. I love all my family. I'm kind of over the mud. I was over it. That's why I live out here. But it's been kind of wet out here too. We've had some moisture out here this year. So we've covered everything on the homestead. We did the giveaway. We're over an hour. Does anybody have anything else they want to cover tonight about homesteading, about categorizing? I put myself in a category. I ain't afraid to. I am a hunter scavenger. I like to hunt. I like to fish, and anybody can do those things and supplement your food source. But it's kind of how we've always been. We worked jobs. We did trades. We jumped cars. We've done a little bit of everything. Anything else? Nobody wants to talk. Nobody wants to talk about nothing. They're all here and no one wants to talk about nothing. So we want to thank y'all for stopping by. We appreciate everybody who come in. I'm not going to run very long. I'm on somebody else's Wi-Fi. I don't want to burn up all the Wi-Fi. Hopefully we talked about something that made you think. If anything, when I watch something, I can watch a 3-hour program as long as I got 15 minutes out of it that helped expand my mental capacity. I'm there. I'll read a book and there may be one thing in there that helped me, and that's what it's all about. Just trying to bring people together, community together. We're going to continue to do giveaways. It's going to be something new. Don't know. Thank you, Jewel. Don't know when it's going to be. So make sure you always join in. We're liable to give something away next week. We're liable to give something away a week from now, a month now. Who knows? No. Whenever we decide to look for our upcoming videos, we've got a lot of footage that she has got to work on. I do some of them, but they don't look good. Last week I done heard that they don't look as good. So she's got to. I've been demoted. I've been fired from editing. So I appreciate y'all for stopping by. Thank you guys. We love y'all. We appreciate everybody. We'll take it. We'll see you down the road. God bless.
Bye, guys.